Alright everybody, because I'm not here today, you miss my discussion on abstract art throughout the decades. I know I'm sure some of you are just devastated about that, but because of technology I can still give you some instruction on how to start your project, which is the fun part. So you are going to look through magazines. I have a bunch of National Geographic magazines over to the right of the paper cutter in the room, or you can look through any magazines or visual material that you can find or that you might have on hand. Here's one now, and if you would like to, in searching for images to abstract, to create an abstract composition, if you are somebody who likes to do abstract drawings or doodles or paintings already, if you can create an abstract design using emphasis, path of sight, and movement and color, which is in your packets, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a second. If you want to create your own design and not go this route, that's fine, as long as they adhere to these three principles of design. But if you're somebody like me who is more of a realistic drawer and painter and likes some help in coming up with abstract compositions, this is a great way to go. You're going to want to grab two viewfinders, which are over by the paper cutter, and you will, for the planning section of this assignment, attach two possible abstracted compositions here and here on your piece of paper, and then you're going to briefly write about how each one involves emphasis, path of sight, and movement and color. You're then going to choose one of the two compositions you create as a basis for your abstract painting. So I want to think about, oops, hold on one second. There we go. First, I have a couple of things that I've cut out. I have a flower because I like the colors here. I think that that could potentially be kind of a neat abstracted cut-up composition, and I have part of a caterpillar. You might want to start by ripping out images that are interesting to you, either pattern, texture, color, composition, and then saving them in your folder, or you can look just right in the magazine and then cut them out as you find them. But what I'm going to do is take one of my two viewfinders and then move it around on the images to isolate some zoomed in up close compositions, and I'm going to look at these definitions here, these ideas, to help me choose my best composition. So while I'm moving this around, I'm looking within this viewfinder to find something that I eventually want to paint on a 9-inch by 12-inch canvas. When you're ready for a canvas, they're over on the supply table by the paper cutter as well. So I first want to think about emphasis. Does my image have a focal point or immediate area of emphasis? When I look at my abstracted composition here, where does my eye go first? I want to make sure that either through a differentiation in color or texture or size or shape of an object, there's something that is like bringing my eye right into the composition right away. It's that visual clickbait like we talked about with our still lifes in the last project. So your abstracted image should have an area of emphasis somewhere, or something that stands out that draws the viewer's eye in. You want to think about with the area of emphasis using the rule of thirds. So you don't want your area of emphasis right in the middle. You want it to land on one of these hot spots here. And again, this is something we've already talked about. Path of sight and movement from your visual area of emphasis, something that draws you in. How does your eye then move around the composition? So, for example, let's see here. For example, here, my eye kind of gravitates towards this yellow here, and then this line moves my eye up and around so that I get to see the whole composition. So you want some movement or some lines and shapes within your composition that move the viewer's eye from the area of emphasis around your piece. And then finally, color. how does your abstracted composition use color to engage the viewer's eye? So you want to think about color schemes like we talked about in the last painting project and in Drawing and Painting 1 in the color theory unit. Think about the different color schemes like analogous. That's when all the colors are the same or similar, of the same family. Complementary, we just worked with that. Primary, sure, red, yellow, and blue. Secondary, purple, orange, and green. And the list goes on. You can research other color pairings or just go with a color scheme that you think is visually engaging. So thinking about emphasis, path of sight, and movement, and color, you're going to find a composition that you think you would like to paint. You also want to think about abstracting the image. We didn't write that on here, but I'm going to write down abstraction. And you don't want the imagery within this square to be so small or that the viewer can tell what it is. So for example, if within this square there is a mountain and a man standing on the mountain, that's not an abstracted painting because the viewer can still tell what's happening. You want this to just be about...
Could you please dial 7124 or come to the Blue House office? Eder, to the Blue House office, or dial 7124.
You want this just to be about the color, the shape, the line, the texture, those formal elements and principles of art design. So once you find something that you like, there we go, you're going to take a piece of tape and tape that down. You can either fold these back or cut them. But you're just going to tape this onto your planning document. On here you want to take a few notes about how your abstracted image incorporates the idea of emphasis, path of sight, movement, and color. So just go ahead and jot down those notes. You can, it doesn't have to be complete sentences, you can use arrows, but just showing me that you understand all of those things. So you'll do a second one, and then you can have some time to decide which piece you would like to create in a large scale. So maybe that would be my second. I'd tape it on here, choose, and then I would start texturing, which is in the next video.